Hey, I'm Jason.
And I'm Sam.
And today we'll be talking about international trade. Alright, so the first thing you need to know when talking about international trade is the difference between current and capital account.
The current account is the amount of physical goods and services in a country, whereas the capital account keeps track of a flow of money and other assets.
Yeah, so the flow of money, or capital flow, is determined by comparative real interest rates between countries. So here's an example. Suppose you have country A and country B. When country A's interest rates are higher relative to country B's, it's more profitable for investors from country B to loan out their money and to invest it in country A, since interest rates are higher and the return on their loans are higher. Yeah, so more capital flow is directed towards country A.
And what determines real interest rates is the market of loanable funds, which is the supply of and the demand for loans in any given country. So here we have the market for loanable funds. And the y-axis is the real interest rate, and the x-axis is the quantity of loanable funds. So here it looks kind of just like a supply and demand graph. The supply is basically consists of the savings of the country, both the government savings and just private individual savings. And the demand is just the demand for the loans from both private households, say like they want to buy a house, or from companies trying to buy, say, equipment. And so the equilibrium represents the balance between a country's savings amount and then how much they're actually demanding. And at that equilibrium, that sets the real interest rate, which is used to determine capital flow.
Okay, so here we have a graph of the foreign exchange market. So where does supply and demand come from? Supply comes from the purchase of foreign goods and services by a certain country, and the demand comes from the foreign purchase of that country's goods and services. Alright. So on the x-axis we have quantity of money in the foreign exchange market, and on the y-axis we have the actual exchange rate, which is the amount of a certain country's currency required to trade for 1 unit of another country's currency.
If the demand for a certain country's currency increases, that country's currency will appreciate relative to the other currencies, or vice versa. This appreciation or depreciation also affects trade.
For example, if country A's demand for country B's goods went up, this would shift the supply of country A's currency in the foreign exchange market, decreasing the exchange rate on their currency relative to country B's, or otherwise a depreciation of country A's currency.
This depreciation causes country A's goods and services to be cheaper relative to other countries' goods and services, and exports will increase as more foreigners buy country A's goods and services.
Depreciation also causes country A to have physically less purchasing power, since its currency is actually worth less, decreasing imports since country A's peoples, or consumers, cannot afford to buy foreign goods or services. Alright, so here we have two graphs. On the top left, we have a graph of country without international trade, and on the top right, we have a graph of a country that same country with international trade. So on the left, since producers are not willing to produce at the socially optimum level, there's deadweight loss, and the country is not efficient since there's the excess demand. On the right, that deadweight loss is made up for and more because the world price is lower and consumers are able to import to satisfy their needs, so the quantity in that country is much higher. Alright, so international trade, summary of international trade. So first we talked about capital flow, which is basically the flow of money based on comparative real interest rates between countries.
And the real interest rate is based from the market of loanable funds, which is the equilibrium between the amount of savings in a country, or the amount of loans that can be taken, and the demand that people have to take out loans for things such as housing or buildings.
Yeah. We also talked about trade and how it relates to the foreign exchange market. how the appreciation and depreciation of currencies can cause one country to import or export more.
And we also talked about how deadweight loss caused by producers not wanting to produce enough in an economy can be changed by using that international trade, because the price, if the price is lower, the consumers will be able to import the extra goods that they require in order to be satisfied.